Hi everybody, it's Caroline here. So in this video I wanted to show you what I am doing with my paper supplies. These are just my papers. Yeah, I have these are just my October papers, so Halloweeny themed papers or coloured papers that I put away every November once I've finished October Daily, and then I get them out again. I've added to these as the years go, so I normally buy a few more papers or a few sheets of stickers, enamel dots, that kind of thing each season. Haven't bought anything this year yet, so I wanted to first kind of organise this and use up some of these. I have, they're old and they have, the patterns have shown up in all of my October dailies to date, so I'm definitely ready to use them up. Or even if they're versatile patterns such as this one, which could be just general autumn, I'm going to put it into my scrap box rather than keep it in the October box. Just have a bit of a clear out. So this is just dumped out of the polythene bag that I store it in. What I have done already is work with my digital papers that I already had printed and then put away. So even though they're digital files, I printed them last year for and in previous years. If I didn't use the paper or the die cut, I've kept them in a little envelope. So I know I want to work at in a traveller's notebook for this 2022 album. I'm going to use a disc bound traveller's notebook so they can get nice and chunky. And these were already printed and cut at 8.25 high by 4.25 wide. So all I had to do with these is literally just punch the holes and then slip them into the discs. So that's what I've done with the pre-cut and pre-printed digital papers that I've got. These are all from Traci Reed collections, and I will make sure as I create that I link anything that I have the branding strips for, or any digital collections that I'm using. I'll make sure I link them so you can see where I've got them from if you like something. I've deliberately paired things up so that they look quite nice opposite each other, but I'm going to make sure that I really stick to, ideally I'm hoping to make sure I stick to one page per day, so that although this will get chunky, it won't be too chunky. But we'll see how that goes, because depending on how much fun I'm having, it might all get interactive. Who knows? So that's what I've done already with my papers. And then what I want to do with this big stack is first of all split it. I know I have got some full sheets in here, and I don't think I want to cut into full sheet paper if I don't have to. So I am going to just pile these up first into basically rectangles, so a whole piece of paper on one side, and then odd shapes on another side. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go through. I know I've got some cardstock in here as well, and it's just a case of sorting. So sorting, I'm not even looking at what the patterns are at this point and measuring them. I'm just looking for things that are regular, square or rectangle, as opposed to things that have been obviously cut apart. And that's step one for me. So even though this one is a tag, I'm going to put that into the kind of odd shapes pile. And then let's see what I end up with first.
Okay, let me speed that process up a little bit for you. You'll see that some of these I have punched hearts out of, for example, shapes, a lot of nice simple rectangular pieces already, a lot of cut aparts. You'll often find there's a lot of cut apart sheets with Halloween collections, so a pattern on one side and then journal spots or die cuts on the other, and also quite a significant number of whole pieces of paper, so ones that I haven't cut into yet. I did buy that collection there, I think it's Prima, a long time ago now, really, and I have lots of duplicates, and so they've been in my stash for ages, and I'm getting a bit bored of them now, so I think I might actually end up gifting them this year if I don't use them in my 2024 album. But here we have, look, some nice simple rectangles to go through, and then the odd sheets. And then what I'm doing now is trying to find any that immediately look like they're going to be able to be a traveller's notebook signature. So they need to be bigger than 8.25 high and 4.25 wide. So that's what I'm doing with this pile, splitting it into potential traveller's notebook signatures and then pieces that are far too small.
Okay, so with the regular rectangular sheets of paper, I irritatingly only have these ones that I can trim down to fit into the traveller's notebook. So these are all 8.25 inches high, these three, and 5 inches wide. So that's not a problem. I will just trim these down to 4.25 wide, punch holes and put them in the book. So that's good. This one will work. It's a cut apart sheet on the one side. It will work this way. I can cut, if I haven't already got, I have already got that though. So I don't think I'm actually going to include that. What I might do is, I'm going to see if I want any of the cut aparts on the back. And then if not, I will save this for this year. I'll make that decision and then either cut this down. This year I'm going to be, so for my 2024 album, I know I will be working in an 6x8 album. So I may cut this down so it's one sheet of paper for that, I'm not sure. And the same for this one. I'm probably not going to use the cut aparts. This was quite cutesy and I don't, although I quite like that one. But I could cut down for a traveller's notebook signature if I need to there. And then these ones here, this is all just small scraps of paper, or 12 by 12 rows of paper, if you like, far too narrow for a traveller's notebook signature. And so I will probably keep this, I'm going to separate it out so that I have the cardstock separate to the pattern paper. Go through, I'm going to take out any of the versatile patterns, so this one that I can use on any kind of layout, I'm going to take those out. And then anything that is left that is Halloween themed, I will keep in a little basket so that I can use it for mats for this project. So that's what I'm going to do first, is trim these down, take out any versatile patterns from this lot, and then store this for when I start creating. And then with the random patterns here, I'm going to quite simply look at them and see if I can, so for example here it could be a 6x4 card, I think. Anything I can, slightly under, interesting. Anything I can utilise and say cut aparts that I can use, I'll cut these up so that I have them as die cuts, and then I will just trim off any extras that I have that I don't want to use. So here I've already trimmed. I will just cut this so it is a regular piece of, a whole piece if you like, of card, of paper, and then put that into that scraps basket for when I'm creating. So that's what I'm going to do next, really, is go through this pile and make it so that the pieces that are left are usable exactly as they are, to speed my process up when I start my creative flow.
First, I'm going through with the larger pieces that I know I can cut to traveller's notebook size, making sure they're 8.25 high by 4.25 wide. And then these are going in one separate pile. And what I will do with these is punch holes in them later on, and I have basically created myself some foundation pages straight away. So here, look, I'm just measuring, wondering where, because these are double-sided papers, if I cut the traveller's notebook signature out, will I have the use of any of the journal cards on the other side? Or with some of them, if I want to use the pattern, will I have use of a journal card on the opposite side? So that's what I'm doing now, is pulling out anything that has got a pattern that I love, or a journal card on the back. And then these I will be trimming into 4x6 and 6x3 card sizes, so that they will then go into my journal card stash. Nice and simple for those. I'm just taking stock of these larger sheets. I know that I have some full sheets and then these where I've just really cut out little bits of pattern, and I'm keeping the majority of them exactly as they are, so keeping them almost whole, because I have only had them in my stash for a year, whereas this sheet here, I've had this in my stash for a very long time now, so I'm deciding to cut this out so that I can use another for another traveller's notebook signature, and also I'm cutting out some of the journal cards from the back so I can use them. Sometimes if I have a cut apart sheet, if I keep it whole, I find that I don't want to cut into it, which is a bit bizarre, but it's true. It's just my mind, and so if I make the commitment and cut it straight away, then I'm more likely to use the cut apart, so the journal pieces, or the if they have any kind of die cut elements, then I'm more likely to use those on my page. What I'm doing here is that I found that once I had trimmed my traveller's notebook signature out, it left a few partial pieces of journal card, which will actually work for me as journal spots. So I'm just trimming those down a little bit more neatly, and then those will go into my die cuts and journal pieces pocket, if you like, that you'll see in a little bit, that I store my smaller embellishments and die cuts in. Now onto the more oddly shaped pieces. I'm going to keep that tag there because I've obviously created that as a design element or an insert in a previous year, so I'm going to use it this year as a page. And then it's just really a case of using that same formula, measuring things. Can I make a 3x4 card or a 6x4 card, trimming it down if I can, and then if I can't, deciding to just either add it into my scraps stash, but trimming it down to be a sensible size or a sensible shape. A lot of these I've cut with scissors, so I'm just trimming off the kind of wobbly edges, and then I have that stash box that I'll add all of this to. And then I think this is going to be the year that after my 2024 album is complete, any that I haven't used again that I really recognise as something that's been in my stash for a very long time, then I will gift that to the local library, and then the children will be able to use that for their craft activities, and they're always really grateful when they receive any kind of scrapbook products as a donation. So that's something to bear in mind. If you are gifting and you don't have a school to gift to, then local libraries are always really, really grateful.
Okay, so that means that I have this pile of cardstock in Halloweeny colours that I can pull in for some journaling or to map my photos on. I have some regular shaped scraps of paper here that I can use. I've got a branding strip there, so I'll trim that off, that I can use as layers on my pages. And I also have this small bundle of cards and die cuts to add in, because I have my embellishments and my journal cards in another bag, which I need to go and get and then sort those out. So that's a good amount of product. That's far more than I'm probably going to need, I would think, for this album, because my intention at the moment is to keep it nice and simple. But we'll see, as I said, we'll see how I go, because I do also want to use up a good amount of stash. Use this opportunity to use all of this up, or a lot of it up, so that I don't just keep putting it away every November. So that's a good amount of things that I have here to work with. I'm going to put these into a basket so that I have them on my shelf next to my desk. And then as I work on my project, so this is my album, I've counted up and I have 14 pages in here at the moment. I haven't adhered any of these back to back yet, because one of the things I do love to do is create pockets between the pages. This is too big at the moment, but this, for example, if I trimmed it down into a tag, or if I wanted something in between the pockets, I would just adhere 3 corners down and then have an insert in between 2 pages. So I'm definitely not going to adhere anything down. Also, I like to take the pages out of these discs when I create with them, so I'll do that. I might even add this in as a page. I quite like that. I'll need to do another tag the same size for the other side, but I think that would be quite good. I like different sized pages in albums, so I think I'm going to put that with my papers to punch, which are here. So I shall punch these out, the holes and just put them into the book. This is not the order that the pages are going to go in. I've literally just put them in at the moment so that they're held together, and then I'll start working out which one's going to go where when I have my photos on the desk with me in a later stage in this creative process. So for now, I'm going to put these all away and go and grab those embellishments and journal cards and get those organised as well.
Okay, so here is that pouch I was talking about that I keep my die cuts in. So I'm just adding those smaller pieces into that, and that's going there for a little look later. And I'm bringing out some stickers that I have partial sheets of, I've purchased and just never used for whatever reason. That one on the top there is a really old witch hazel from October afternoon. I think that one is ready to be gifted now. And I have a few or two foundation pages that I created for a previous project, and I'm going to keep these into my stash and just trim them down so they are a little bit shorter. I think they're 8 inches high by 5 inches wide, so I'm going to trim them down so that I can mat them onto a piece of traveller's notebook sized paper, and then those will go into the album as foundation pages. And then I'm pulling out things, those Hello Boos there, the little cute things, they're going straight into the library stash along with the stamps. And then I have lots of sequins. I love to include shaker pockets in my October Daily albums, but I'm not going to be doing that in this one because this is going for nice and simple and ease. And so because I want to just get things done, I am going to sacrifice, if you like, that extra bit of sparkle and things, because it just takes me that little bit longer. And I'm focusing in on getting this album completed rather than spending a slow creative play as I might do. Bear in mind that whatever feels right for you is the best thing to do. You might absolutely love doing all of the interactivity and the shaker pockets, and so you might decide that actually yours is going to be filled with those. Whatever inspires you to get your project completed, follow that inspiration. I found foundation pages from those 4x4 albums that I obviously created and never used. So this has been a really good clear out of my scraps. I'm throwing away really small pieces but keeping some border strips. You'll see I've got my piles of cards laid out. So some 3x4, 6x4, 4x4. I've even got a spooky canvas font list, which I've just found, so that's exciting. And then piling all of these up together, zipping things into that zippy pocket, and I am pretty much sorted with my stash, ready to get those foundation pages into the album, and then ready soon to start creating with all of these products and put all of the stories together that I've captured, that I am going to catch up with and get this album completed.